Hi guys, welcome back to the today's lab. Okay, today we're going to cover some of the Cisco lab. First of all, we're going to cover this particular lab, which is 3.3.19, which is detecting threats and vulnerability. So today, what we're going to cover is the basic use of. We're going to go through mmap. Okay, mmap is a tool. It's a command line tool. There's of course last week we go through quite a bit of commands. Those are basic, some of the basic program that comes already with any Linux distribution. But then today this particular tool actually is if you need to do a necessary installation. We should not go through the installation. We just take a look at what exactly this thing is. So what is mmap? Mmap basically is tools that actually help you to look at vulnerability. The easiest way is vulnerability. Is there any vulnerability or not, locally or remotely? Of course, by having discover some of this vulnerability, we also can indirectly discover some of the possible threats. Okay, threats means that things that people may use it and attack against the particular system. So let's take a look at this particular mmap. Okay. So how do we do? Okay, let's talk into the Cisco network first, right? So first of all, typically you can log in as an administrator if you want. Okay, so you're root, or you can go back as Cisco, right? So why do I want to do that? Well, just want to double check later because I need to run this particular sudo again, because sudo is the command allows me to run some of the administrative stuff. So some of the command you need to have sudo. Okay, so this is to make sure that this particular Cisco command allows me to do sudo. So first of all, let's run mmap localhost. Okay, this is just to look at locally. It's either localhost or the IP address 127.0.1. Okay, just to look at what are the services running. So I can see, okay, these are some of the services provided. Okay, this particular machine that provides, you can see, service. The state is open, so it's ready to receive computer any things that is coming in. Okay, I also can do it as a remote. So mmap 1 title 168.56.11. Okay, remote. So with this, what's the difference between these two? This is allow me to look at local, right? You report all these are the ports that's open. If you see remote, compare this and this, you find that there's a missing of this one, which means that MySQL, which is a database, okay, basically just local, open to a local, basically within this computer itself. Within this computer itself, you can see MySQL. But if you're outside this particular virtual machine or machine, you can only see these 4 ports. Okay, these are the 4 services available. So what do we mean by service, right? Example, FTP. FTP is a file transfer protocol. So it provide be able to send file and receive file. So it's a file transfer protocol. Okay. Next thing is SSH. SSH is a secure shell. When we log into here, we actually make use of SSH, which is a secure connection. This is a secure connection. Okay. Then what is Telnet? Telnet is very similar to SSH, but then without security. So what do we mean by without security here? SSH, there is a username, there's a password, and there's a certificate. It means that the username and password is encrypted, is sent in gibberish, so that when people put in a thing called, we call it a sniffer, a hacker put in a sniffer, you cannot see the username and password. But if you put a sniffer and you start sniffing Telnet over the network, you actually can see the username password, which is not just only a vulnerability, a weakness, but also is a threat, because it's a weakness. So this, when this port is open, we call it this port is open, it is a vulnerable port. But then there are threats, because if there is a sniffer in the network, it becomes someone can put in, collect this data, and attack this particular machine. Okay, so that is the difference. Okay, so there is a threat here. In the same way, FTP does the same thing. Username and password is sent in clear text. People can see the username and password. So FTP is not a secure protocol. Last but not least, HTTP port 80 is also send username and password in clear text. So it's also not a secure protocol. Okay, so the question over here is, first of all, what are the TCP port open? Okay, so these are the TCP port open that other people can see. Second thing, is all of them not secured? No, most of them are not secured except SSH. Okay, so this is the port opening, and I just mentioned about the ability of whether it is secured or not secured, right? Next thing is, we are going to do what we just now see is all the TCP port. TCP stands for Transmission Control Protocol. Okay. Next thing we're going to look at UDP. So you may ask, sir, what's the difference between TCP and UDP? TCP is a protocol that you send, and they will give you an answer, we call acknowledgement. Okay, acknowledgement. So they will come back with the data. Okay, so you send and you have an acknowledgement. Like file, you want to have the connection to be good, and then you want to make sure that the thing is sent over and have they will tell you whether it is sent properly or not, right? There's some data that don't need that, just need to send, and whether have acknowledgement, people saying yes or no, it doesn't matter, right? Whether the other side receive or not, it doesn't really matters. Okay, there are certain protocol that the more important thing is efficiency. Just send over, such as voice and video are just send and receive only. That's all, right? It doesn't need to have acknowledgement because you want to have efficiency. So how do we go there and take a look on, is there such a thing inside there? Likelihood it may not have, so let's just do a mmap. Now you need to do sudo mmap, okay, minus su 192.168.56.11. Okay, that's what we do. And it scan, okay? It scanned 1000 port. It didn't see anything, right? So, okay, there is no any UTP port open. Okay, so far it's very good. There's no UTP port open. Okay, so that's one of the part. Okay, so far we don't have anything. How about the next thing? Let's take a look at the other one. Okay, version detection. Okay, so what does this thing do? Let's just run it and take a look first. Sudo mmap, okay, minus sv, okay, followed by small s, big V. Enter. Okay, this one probably take a long time. Okay, so this is we normally call remote. So what's the difference now over here? Okay, if you look closely, so you scan and take a look at these are just the port, just not exactly the same port open. Now what extra things we have? Just now we don't have anything behind, right? So here come out the certain things behind. It shows you some of the version number of the software that actually providing these services, right? These are additional information. This information is important for hackers, right? Because end of the day, or penetration tester, ethical hacking, because you want to see whether all this version is it subject for hacking, right? Indirectly, because let's say you have a lot of machines, so you want to run through many machines, so you can report back exactly what version it is. If it's too old a version and it's a version that has vulnerability, have problem, then you want to patch it before it's too late, before someone hacking, the actual hacker hacking. So what with this thing, what we call is a thing called penetration testing. At the end of the day, we want to prevent people from hacking, and we want to ahead of time find out what are the versions, right? So this is the quick way to find out all the versions. For example, FTP, you're using this thing called VSFTPD 3.0.5, and then HTTP, we are running this software called Apache HTTP, okay, 2.4.52, okay. I don't know is there any vulnerability here or any weakness, but then we can take this information and do a further Google on these things. Last but not least, let's try on the capture SSH key. Let's say a secured connection. Would that have any implication? Right? This is even a secure connection. Okay, remotely. Right? I can do a scan, and end of the day, it can give me a key of SSH. Wait for a while. You come back. Okay, we wait for a while. Okay, come back. Okay, now is what? MAT, okay, and minus A. You look at just now all the version. Right? What else does he come up with? Can it detect the key for 11? Okay. You cannot see the key because you are doing a remote, right? You can see just now all these things just as just now, right? Let's do a local host, right? Remote, I cannot see the key. Remote cannot see the key. Let's now try local. Let's say you have access to local. Press enter. Okay. And we wait for a while. Now you see the difference, right? So I can see a difference of MySQL is running what, right? Some of the additional information, and then if I have a SSH, right? This is a MySQL, okay, and then the other some SSH. I can see some of the additional plugin, some additional information about the MySQL portion. The difference here, just to take note of the difference here and here is you can see some of the additional thing like the Apache version, okay, the default page. See the difference here and here, okay, default page. You can see there's some additional stuff, right? And you can run some of the general purpose. Okay, you can find some of the Linux version, right, by having -a, and what is the Linux kernel. Okay, this one doesn't even tell you what Linux kernel. This one tells Linux kernel. Then if it's local, of course, it tells you more things. Besides the Linux kernel, it tells you all the all this information. Okay, so this is the main part on the all these threat and vulnerability that appear over here. Okay, Ken? Thank you. So we'll see you in the next particular lab itself.